Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our presentation this evening, where I am with Deb, and together her and I would like to present our celebrity cruise on the Celebrity Equinox for this June 13th to 21st, 2024 with Red Orchid Travel. This cruise is escorted cruise and it's open to anybody and everybody, come one, come all. If you're a solo traveler and you want to share a room, let us know. We have others interested in doing the same. Or if you just want to come along and enjoy this splendid, fantastic, wonderful cruise, then we welcome you to come with us. So I'm just going to proceed here. My name's Renee with Red Orchid Travel and Red Orchid Women's Travel Club. Together with 5 others, we are hostesses for the travel club, and we love to invite women to join us. But I'm also Red Orchid Travel, a small boutique travel agency where all of your needs can be met anytime with just a phone call and a visit to our website. So I'd like to introduce you to Deb, and actually I'll get you to introduce yourself. You can say who you are.
Okay. Thanks, Renee. Hello, everyone. My name's Deb Wardle, and I am one of Renee's travel assistants, hostesses, whatever you would like. I have known Renee for some time. We have had children grow up together. We've done creative memories together, and now we travel together. And it's just a wonderful relationship and friendship that continues on over the seas and through the air. So
Ooh,
thank you
literally.
very much, Renee, for including me on this. I'm really excited about the celebrity cruise coming up and all that you have prepared for the group. It's going to be fantastic. This will be my first cruise, and I
Yay.
couldn't have picked a better cruise or a better travel agent to be with. Thank you.
Aw, thank you. And I am so happy to have you on board with us. So this cruise is beginning in Barcelona and going through the Italian and French Rivieras on its way over towards Rome. And I thought we'd just go through the itinerary together because there is so much involved in this cruise that a lot of people aren't realizing the extent of what you can see, what's possible. If you're an ocean cruiser and you just love being on the seas and you love participating on the ship, there's that. But if you want to get off the ship, it's almost overwhelming for some people to know just the vast amount of cities and spaces to go to. So, welcome to Barcelona. Uh, there's the airport, and the first thing you notice is the language, Spanish. Also, in the top right, you'll see some whimsical buildings and walkways and lots of tile. Tell you about that in a bit. And you'll see architectural marvels. There's so much there to see. The Gothic Quarter is where we'll be staying because it's close to the cruise port. And we'll just go on from there. So it's a vibrant city and it awaits us before we embark on the cruise. I like to tell all my clients, please come in the day before. First of all, you're not going to have any issues missing your cruise. And if there's any issues with your flight, you're sure to be there on time. Second is you can kind of get into the time zone and rest up for that cruise departure because a lot of people fly overnight and they're tired. So getting in the morning of, if you can do it a different way by coming in the day before, it's so much easier. So if you take a look at where we'll be in this Gothic quarter, you'll see that we're just very close to having the ability to get to this cruise port from our hotel. So easy peasy. Gothic Quarter is very close to everything. Our hotel is going to be within a 2-kilometer radius, walking around if we prefer, or hop on, hop off, or some other form of transportation to get into this beautiful hotel, which is right in the middle of the hustle and bustle of everything. There is breakfast available and dinners, and I like the idea of just walking out that door and going to explore. You too, Deb?
You bet. You bet.
Yes, I think, you know what? It's a step above what the girls' trip in Greece had last July. It We were kind of giggling over that one. So here we are. If you have time to explore, there's fun things to see. Now, the Arc de Triomphe, what is a surprise to many, because whenever you say that, they think Paris, right? But Spain had one too. They had it for the World's Fair, 1888. There is a hop on, hop off bus. That's why I mentioned it. Sagrada Familia, the iconic Gothic church basilica, is right in the area, and it is very famous worldwide. Usually, a lot of pictures show it's a little black. It's because it's made out of limestone, and they keep having to clean it over time. To the right, you see a hustle and bustle down the streets. That's La Rambas, where a lot of people like to shop. There's entertainers. It's sort of the happening vibe place to be. All of these areas are within walking distance from where we'll be staying. Speaking of Gaudi, he's the artist responsible for the Sagrada Familia, the church, the basilica, but he's also responsible for some of the incredible architecture of the day. He has the Art Nouveau Gothic influence, and I thought it was so whimsical and so cute, all the tiles and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
It reminded me so much of the Fable Cottage that used to be, or that is, outside of Victoria, British Columbia on the island. The people there had so many snoops come down their property to check out their little place that they had to sell and move, actually, which was too bad. It should make it into a museum or something, but I understand it's private. But look here, that's what it reminds me of, the windows, the little bit of stained glass. You can get into these areas for a small fee, and it's definitely worth the visit.
Renee, can I just say something about the Gaudi artist? When I
Yes.
first, on my own research, came across the Sagrada Basilica and the artist, I was so taken. And then I came across some glassware that was inspired by him, and I bought the glasses. And
Oh,
this
so
is
pretty.
Cornet Barcelona, and I have the whole series of these glasses and champagne goblets because I was so enthralled with the artwork and the artistry and, like you say, the color and the whimsical. So even before this trip, I was born for this trip.
You were born for this trip. That's it. Okay, I showed the ship on the very first slide, and now, sneak peek just a second ago, what does the inside look like? Everybody says, I want to know what the staterooms look like because from there, I know I'm going to have a good time anywhere else. So just because there's several to choose from, several categories here, you'll note that there is an inside cabin. They call it the interior. There's no windows in that one whatsoever. And then we move on to windows, where you have the stateroom window. And then we move slowly down to balconies and suites and all the rest. The balconies have, um, the ability to go out the door onto a little deck with chairs. So it's wonderful to go outside in the morning. You can get room service and have them bring you coffee and continental breakfast. I love to sit outside first thing in the morning, just get my coffee in, or at sunset, any time of the day, really, just to take in all of the scenes before me. And of course, there's many other benefits. So I wrote down basically most of the categories that you can find on this ship, and you got to think of it this way. On a cruise, you're really not in your room a whole lot. So you have to think about what would be best for me. Some people say, I know that I'm going to spend time in my room. I want a good sleep. Well, you're going to have a good sleep in any room. Some people say, I need to see daylight. So you got to get a room that you can see daylight.
That would be me.
Um, yeah, so you just want to see daylight. You got to remember the ocean view ones, the windows don't open. Sometimes people just say, I want fresh air. I want to be able to open that door and hear the water. So then you'll figure out what type of room best suits you. And so there's something for everybody. You have to think of it as a resort uh, hotel on the water, because it really is truly an all-inclusive resort on the water with so much to do, so much to see, and real feast for the eyes. So here's some more. On day 2 already, we'll have an overnight at sea, and the next day we're going to have all day at sea as well. And there's a lot to know about the ship. And I find that for that first day and the second day, most people just explore to see what's there, to see, what they can take in. You'll get a itinerary of all the things to do through the day, sort of like your um, what's what going on the ship. You can take part in or not, and you can hang out with that or not. But just take a look at everything. 11 restaurants and food areas, snack areas, 5 specialty restaurants. I mean, right there, it's just there's so much selection. And don't forget that there's always the buffet stations where it's not buffet per se. Things are made to order. Look at all the bars. I mean, 15 lounges and bars, 4 swimming pools, 6 jacuzzis. There's 1,400 staterooms, but honestly, some people get freaked out about how many people could potentially be on a ship. But honestly, you don't know there's that many people on board ever. Some people are seasoned cruisers. They do stay in their room and on their deck a lot. A lot of people work while they're on a cruise. So they may be having workman hours and not coming out of the room for a while. 10 sets of elevators, so you're always going to get wherever you need to go. Full service spa with world class massages and all sorts of things. You can get your hair done and put up if you really want to. Stellar music, entertainment every night in the theater. Um, Actually, there's so much to do that you'll never, ever be able to do it all. And that goes for any cruise, literally. The 61 solar panels on our Solstice class ship are fantastic because already with the topics of sustainability, which a lot of people want cruise ships to be mindful of, the solar panels alone, taking in the sun, it's just brilliant. They have that all on top. And the other thing they have on the top deck, which are 15 decks in all, is real grass. So you get a half an acre of real grass, and they actually have a landscape crew that comes and cuts the lawn to make sure that everything looks sculpted and wonderful. So there's lawn bowling, there's picnics up there. You can watch a movie and lay down up there with a pillow and blanket. There's so much activity waiting for everybody to enjoy. So we'll move along to day 3. And you know what? Day 3, here's where you go, oh, wow, there is so much to do. We're in old Mediterranean for the most part of this, a lot of established cities, landscapes. And you look at the shore excursions available with the cruise ship, and you just go, wow, how do I do all this? I want to go everywhere and see everything. You can't. Yes, you have the entire day out to do things, but the first day you're realizing, okay, I can go to Marseille, Provence. The first thing that come to mind, Deb, when I saw that was years ago, I read a book called A Year in Provence, and it was a couple who did that. They went to Provence and they just talked about their whole year being out there with the vineyard scenes with Russell Crowe in the movie A Good Year. He was at the chateau there. All those things came to mind. So Marseille, they have that city has a lot to offer. A lot of people, first thing is the lavender fields. The lavender fields just blow you away in the vineyards there, the wines, the olive oils, and it's a real wonderful place for artistry. Lots of people come there to paint, to sit, to write novels, all that good stuff. So there you go, Provence. Um, then day 4, we will get to. Oh, we're still on. Yeah, no, we're on day 4. We're at Nice, France. We're both Francais in both these places. This is where it starts to increase in selections. Monte Carlo, where we have the Formula One Grand Prix. Monaco. Okay, Monaco has my heart. I'm a fan of Princess Grace of Monaco, who has passed long ago in a tragic accident. I've shown her there at her wedding day. Now, for all of you younger than you will revere Princess Diana. But in my day, it was Princess Grace. Maybe it was before my time, but as she grew and had children, or as she aged and had children, that's when I started to connect the dots with her because I collect older books and she's written a few of them. She's a very good artist. She does embroidery and all that stuff, or she did. So that really captivated me. Saint Tropez is a drive away, the land of the rich and famous, champagne and caviar dreams, of course. The French Riviera, of course, where a lot of people in Europe go off to holiday and vacation. And of course, Cannes. And Cannes is where the annual Cannes Film Festival takes place. Lots of movie stars hang out in these areas. So which one would you choose, right?
I had to
It's
flip a
hard.
coin.
Yeah, I think I'm doing Monaco and Tropez, Saint Tropez that day. So I think I'll get the best of both. We'll be able to see the French Riviera, so that's why I kind of nixed that one out a little bit. And well, Monte Carlo is sort of in there. So there's a lot to see. Hard to pick, eh? So a lot of people get overwhelmed. It's like, what do I pick? You know what? You just decide, hmm, I'll wait and see. You can book on the ship, you can book in advance, but the good thing about booking in advance is you pay in Canadian funds instead of US dollars, like on the ship. So then on day 5, we get to Santa Margarita. And again, you have a lot of choices. Cinque Terre, coastal gems, 5 charming villages perched high on cliffs. I'm starting to notice a pattern, eh, Deb? Everything starts to become high on cliffs.
You do a lot of walking in Italy, and it's always up.
Yeah, so there's that documentary called The Blue Zones, and they go through a lot of cities where people have to do natural movement, uphill, downhill, and they're walking everywhere they're going. So this starts to remind me of the blue zones and that you can't help but stay fit going up and down there. But Genoa isn't far away. Historic maritime city, medieval old town, grand palaces. I mean, all the good things. I mean, what was the movie that was filmed in Genoa? It was some princess film, I think, with Disney that I saw years ago.
I don't recall.
Portofino, you start getting into exclusive seaside retreats with luxury yachts. You just have to people watch in these areas and see how people live. Rapallo is another interesting area. Rapallo is got famous um, castles there. That's definitely one of the things if you're interested in medieval UNESCO, lots of hiking in this general area. But the thing I'm looking forward to the most is seafood and just that whole Mediterranean vibe. But the seafood, I will say seafood 100 times. I live in central Canada or eastern Canada, and there are no seafood where I'm in. So I can't wait for that. All righty. So then we move along day 6 and 7. So day 6 and 7, yeah, that's not a typo. We're going to be spending 2 days in this area, 1 night on our ship. Some people might want to go in and spend the night in the city instead of on the ship. You can do that. You just have to let the ship know that you'll be leaving for the night. Somebody asked me how long we'll have in port. Usually it's quite late. So if you want to stay in Florence and go see the city lights and just take in some of the evening, vibe there, you can. But the first thing you'll see is Florence has several nicknames, and that's mostly due to its historical significance and culture. It's been called Florence, Livorno. It's been called several things. Firenze, am I saying that right? You're Italian.
I say frenzy.
Firenze, that's the Italian name for Florence. Of course, Florence doesn't sound Italian. It sounds very old English. So it's also called the City of Lilies because they do have a fleur-de-lis on their coat of arms. And there's other cities even, again, close by. You can go back to Cinque Terre. Piazza, you can go through the valley of Tuscany, and Tuscany isn't a city. Some people think it's a city, but it's a whole region, and it's been made very famous by the 2003 movie Under the Tuscan Sun. Who doesn't want to go live there and find an old place to fix up? A little bit of trivia for you. In 2020, that house in the movie Under the Tuscan Sun, I had actually rented that. And we were going to bring our Red Orchid Women's Travel Club over. It had beds for 18, and we would have just stayed there. Coffee shop was 20 minutes away, overlooking the vineyard, a swimming pool, a fire pit, the whole works. We could have had a chef come in and teach us how to cook our own pasta. So who knows, maybe we'll do that again sometime. But there's also another movie that was filmed there, and it was called A Room with a View, because you can't help but just love this view. So there's a lot to choose. That's why you need 2 days there. You definitely need 2 days. Pisa, who doesn't want to go to Pisa and point their finger and pretend that photography that they're holding it up? The architecture is amazing. I heard that the bell inside had to be had to lean one way in order for them to ring it because the building is leaning. So there's lots of history here. I mean, Florence is the absolute birthplace of the Renaissance, cultural masterpiece. So much iconic art is in the area, just a living canvas. There's museums, there's statues. You go across the Ponte Vecchio and you can admire the Florence Cathedral. You need 2 days, and even at just 2 days in Florence, it's a lot. So here we go, day 8. And day 8 will get you into more spectacular places to think about going. Naples. Did you know, Deb, that the Neapolitan pizza, this is the birthplace of it. Simple pizza with thin crust, mozzarella, basil, and tomato. Everybody likes that. And they have to have a piece when we go there, we're told. So we'll have a pizza. We'll bring hot pizza back with us to the ship. But there's also other towns. You can go to the Amalfi Coast, spectacular UNESCO coastline, unparalleled beauty, cliffs, again, cliffs everywhere. Sorrento, oh boy, perched high on a cliff again, known for its breathtaking views. And the scented streets of lemons. And if you ever had limoncello, that's because they have the lemon there. That's a local delicacy of sorts, and it's exported. And that is the place to try your fumicello, limoncello, all your cellos. And then there's, of course, Positano. And I think that for the clients that I have that come to me and say, we want to go to Italy, it's a big place. Where do you want to go? The two favorite places have to be this area, Positano, Amalfi, Sorrento, that area, Amalfi Coast, or Tuscany. Those are the very favorites. And I always say, why do you want to go there specifically? It's the views, it's the old towns, it's all of that. And I think, Rome is definitely the center of all of that. But they seem to choose these. And I always thought maybe it was movie influences, but just take a look at how beautiful these areas are. All the Instagram influencers like to rent those little cars in the center there and then go park over at the edge, at the side views, and then stand there and take their pictures. So definite Instagram influence here. Okay, so now we're getting onward, except we're still in the same area. So more choices. Pompeii. Who doesn't and who hasn't heard of Pompeii? It's just frozen in time. I remember learning about Mount Vesuvius. And I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but that's what we said when we were in school. And it's
I always
haunting.
said Vesuvius.
Vesuvius. I know it's one of those. So I just tell you what we were taught because our teacher pronounced it that way. And I was always fascinated, but honestly, now look at it. It's a whole town to explore. And they never had all of that excavated. When I learned about it, it was just little pittance of a place. And now to go from one end to the other on a tour, It's you have to walk 1.5 miles, not kilometers, but miles. So you got to make sure you can get over cobbled roads. You got to make sure, there's no accessibility factor here. You could do an accessibility tour, which Willie doesn't see as much. But that is one incredible place. And if anybody goes on YouTube and looks this up, you'll be just fascinated. Capri. Oh, Capri, another champagne dreams and caviar wishes to delight anybody. A lot of people go there for the Blue Grotto. It has the light, the emerald blues and greens, panoramic gardens of Augustus. And you can get a jet boat from Naples over to Capri, and there's a lot of cool shore excursions. Now, remember that the cruise lines contract out all of their shore excursions, and you can't cancel them once you book them until, up to 24 hours ahead without having any issues. But if anybody wants to go to any of these stellar places, I highly suggest when you book on your cruise, you get in right away and pick something. Uh, Better to have it than to lose it and have it unavailable or be able to cancel later. Someone will pick it up. But the sea caves at Capri for this Blue Grotto are just simply magical. And then the rock formations, and then looking back and seeing what's behind you. Very cool. Well, I don't know if I spelled that right. I'm looking at it now. Chitavecchia. I may not have spelled it right. Oh well, I tried. It's I'll blame it on my teacher. Okay, when I say Rome, Deb, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Well, I always think of St. Peter's or the Colosseum. Those are my two things that I think of.
Yep, yep. So when we get into Rome, Chattavecchia, Rome is still quite a distance actually away from the cruise port. And one of the things that I tell people is you need a transfer there. And even the airport is a little distance away. So although we get off there, you're not in Rome specifically. So yeah, what's the first thing that come to mind? It's either Vatican City, it's either the Colosseum. People, because of Instagram influence, they say Trevi Fountain, Spanish Steps, all of the works, the Forum. Everybody has a different answer, but it's very interesting to hear what people say. So I suggest, so when you get off your cruise, you'll get off usually in the morning. As soon as it ports and as soon as they put the gangway down, you can get off. If you have a flight later in the day, you could take a transfer tour from the ship into Rome to see a few things, and it will also take you back to the airport in time for your flight. Or why not just hang out and have an extended stay overnight, get a couple of full days in there or a day and a half anyway before your flight home. But it would be worthwhile. Totally different landscape, different per se than some of these other cliffside villages, but the history and the architecture and the cultural is still all there for you. So as we move along, I just wanted to announce here. So at the end of this trip on June 21st, some of our cruise people are staying on till the next day or for 2 days, like Deb. And on June 23rd, back to back, we have a 14-day women's only Italy land tour where we're going to deep dive into Italy. We're going to go up and around all the way to Venice. So we are going to go back up through Tuscany. We are going to go back to Cinque Terre. We are going to go through Lake Como and all around to Venice, but 2 solid weeks of having walking tours, a guide, and a private transportation ability. Small group, I have 2 spots left. If you're interested in this incredible Italy deep dive tour, contact me today because you can still get in. And it would be my pleasure to be able to host with Deb. Deb is hosting. So there you go. Italy in 1 month on a cruise and 14 days of a land tour. Pick one, pick both. They're all up for anybody, except for the land tour itself is only for women. All right, let's go right to pricing. So the cruise pricing itself Because we have group space, believe it or not, the pricing per person for a balcony room right now is $1,700 more per person at a prevailing rate than it was when I formed this group. So you can check it out there. V1 category is balcony. The I category is it's supposed to be the ocean view, and then the IC is interior. So those are the prices per person. Deposits are $960 for the stateroom, which means if you're by yourself, you pay $960. If you're with someone else, you each pay half. Looking at the pricing here, you can see we have a classic beverage package included, and people say, what is that? Well, that's pretty much all your basic drinks. You can get mojitos, glasses of wine, you can get cappuccinos, smoothies, and because we're in Italy, you're going to want a lot of cappuccinos and lattes. Yes, you are. So it also includes Wi-Fi, and it includes your gratuities, which are the tips for the staff, port fees and taxes. Plus, we have a minimum of $100 onboard credit. We do have a sprinkling amount that could come in and be more than that. I think that the last booking I did, we were able to secure about 400 for the cabin. So 200 per person or 400 if you're solo. You'll have incredible company and obviously incredible memories from going through all of these wonderful France Riviera, Italian Riviera. What it doesn't include, obviously, are your flights. Everybody's coming from different airports. Your transfers to and from the ship. I think Barcelona is pretty simple. We could walk down actually to the port, take a cab, share the expense from the hotel. In Rome's the same. A lot of people will be going right to the airport for their later flight if they so choose, or going into Rome, and we can have a group transfer for that. If you come in the day before, your pre-night hotel's not included, some of your meals for that. Travel insurance, of course, it's so personal. The only thing to pay for on the ship other than well, is your shore excursions and your spa. So that pretty much is it. Deposits due anytime. Inventory is getting low. I suggest if you want to join us for this, or maybe you want to go a different time on this same itinerary, I can help you with that. But for now, this is the pricing. As well, I just want to show you that there is a deep dive into this particular itinerary on our YouTube page, as well as on my website, which is redorchidtravel.com. So you can learn way more about this ship in general. That's why I didn't deep dive into it here as much. So feel free to go over and watch it. You'll learn a lot about this class of ship. It's won many awards for being the best hardware in Europe to travel through the Mediterranean, believe it or not. And I would just like to close by thanking you all very, very much for staying here and watching this presentation with us. It's very informal. It just goes through the itinerary. You got to meet Deb, who will be on the ship. You got to meet me. I'll also be on the ship. Here's how to generally get a hold of us. Email is there, the website, Instagram. I've shown 2 pictures from the website, the escorted tours. We do have escorted tours for everybody, and we do have escorted tours for just women because we do have the Red Orchid Women's Travel Club as well as anybody with the Red Orchid Travel. We do have luxury cruising, and this celebrity cruise has been nominated and accepted to be above and beyond in the luxury category, just because celebrity is just won so many awards and is so stellar. They're not the mass market like a lot of others. So that's pretty much our presentation. So thank you again for coming. And Deb,
Thank you very much, everyone. Really looking forward to this adventure. First time cruising and coming back home to Italy. I really hope that you will consider joining us on one or both. I'm really looking forward to the land tour where we can actually get out and walk and be part of the culture and the country and the wine. So do consider joining us and contacting Renee. And we look forward to meeting you and seeing you and making memories with you. Thank you.
Fine wine glasses.
Yeah, exactly.
All righty. Thanks again, everybody.
Ciao.